The Golden State Warriors have been the most impressive team so far this season. At the making of this video, they currently have a 19-4 record, the best record in the NBA right now. They've been looking like the most dominant and just straight up best team in the league. They've been blowing out good teams, they've been blowing out bad teams, and despite them doing an amazing job, I really haven't talked about them so far this season, so I decided now is as good of a time as any to start discussing the Warriors right before we head into the first half of the season. In today's video, I'll just be discussing all the positive things the Warriors have done and why they've been so good this season. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to reach my goal of 3,000 subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro. But quickly before we get into the video, I gotta show you this really quickly. This is the new Diversion water bottle. It's basically a water bottle where you can put stuff like your keys, wallet, and other kind of small items like in your water bottle that will make you lose it way less. And it will also just help you to not have your pockets full and things like that. Click the link in my bio if you're interested, and into the video. When it comes to talking positive about the Golden State Warriors this season, the thing that needs to be talked about the most is definitely how amazing they've been on defense. At the making of this video, the Warriors are not just a top 5 defense, not even just a top 3 defense, they're the #1 defense in the whole league. And it's due to the fact that they just have a bunch of solid to really good defenders. They have an elite defender in Draymond Green, but as a unit, this team is just amazing. Their defensive game plan is absolutely fantastic. A lot of the credit has to go to Steve Kerr because on certain nights, they make like a game plan where they're like gonna make the opposing team star player like go off and then lock down all the role players. And on other nights, they lock down the other team star players and force the role players to hit shots, things like that. Their scheme is just absolutely amazing. It's probably the best in the league right now, and the numbers show it. We really shouldn't be that surprised they're good on defense because last season they were good on defense. When you look at this roster, they definitely have improved on the defensive side of the floor. This is just a roster with so much good defenders. They really don't have that much liabilities. First of all, they have Draymond Green, who has looked like a guy who could be in contention for the Defensive Player of the Year because Draymond is just basically this whole team's defense. He's definitely the most versatile defender in the league. I'm not saying he's prime Draymond because prime Draymond is the best defender in the league, but he hasn't been crazy off from that. He's their best defender and their most impactful defender, and I think he's their second best player. Gotta talk about Andrew Wiggins, who is this team's best perimeter defender. He's improved so much since coming to Golden State, and he's been one of the best defensive wings in the league, and I actually trust him to guard some of the better wings in the league. Believe it or not, a guy like Steph Curry has actually been pretty good on defense. When it comes to being a one-on-one defender, I'd say he's average. When as a defender, that's like an overall defender, like help defender and things like that. I actually think he's a really good defender. I don't think he's gonna make an all defensive team or anything like that, but I don't think he's a liability like many are led to believe. They also have guys like Gary Payton III, who was one of their best perimeter defenders. He's great at guarding opposing teams' other guards. He's always getting steals. They also have Juan Toscano-Anderson, who's very good on the perimeter. Andre Iguodala, even at his old age, is above average defender. They also have Kevon Looney, who although is not one of the best defensive centers in the league or anything like that, I think he's an above average defensive center because he's just an experienced veteran who is very good at guarding like off the ball. And he's not terrible in pick and roll situations. I think he's probably a better defender than Wiseman will be when he returns. But Looney has been a solid defender. You have Otto Porter, who's a solid defender. Overall, this team is just filled with a bunch of solid defenders. They don't really have any liabilities. I see their weakest defenders are probably, like who get playing time, is probably Jordan Poole or Nemanja Bjelica. But I don't think those guys are really liabilities on defense. They're just probably average at best. But regardless, when you just look at this team, they've been absolutely beautiful on the defensive side of the floor. And when you have that much good perimeter defenders who could switch and things like that, along with one of the better coaches in the league, especially when it comes to making defensive game plans, it's kind of hard to not be good on defense. When it comes to the offensive side of the floor, last season the Warriors were really struggling on that side of the floor, and that was because outside of Steph Curry, they didn't really have that much good floor spacers, and they didn't really have players who fit their offensive scheme. They had a guy like Kelly Oubre, who's a solid player, solid offensive player, but he just didn't fit what the Warriors wanted to do. But now this season, they just got way more players who fit exactly what this team is about and what they want to do. And I think that's truly the biggest reason they've been so great this season, and especially really good on offense. At the making of this video, they're currently the third best offense in the NBA, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, when you have Steph Curry on your team, you're going to be at least an above average offense in the league, or average offense. But now they actually have players who fit well alongside him. This is honestly not that surprising how good they are on offense. This team is very similar to the 2016 Golden State Warriors. They're just missing Klay Thompson. So far this season, Steph Curry has just been his normal self, averaging like 27.6 assists, 5 rebounds, 41% from 3. I think he's the best player in the NBA. We got to talk about Jordan Poole, who has been on an absolute tear. He's definitely in the most improved player conversation. He's averaging 18 points, shooting 46% from the field and 35% from 3. Just a very quality starter. He seems like a guy who has a crazy amount of confidence. He never sees a shot that he doesn't like. It's great to see Jordan Poole doing well, because I remember there was a time where he was the worst player in the NBA. They also got to talk about Draymond Green, who I think is this team's second best players. He's actually putting up some nice box score stats of 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists while shooting 55% from the field and being a top 5 defender in the league. I think this season is going to be the best season Draymond has had since 2016. Nothing really bad to say about him. He's even shooting over 30% from 3, which is pretty impressive for him. Andrew Wiggins has been really good as a solid starter, averaging like 18 points on nearly 50% from the field. If anyone's going to be the Warriors' second all-star, it would be him. But if I'm being honest, I don't think he'll be an all-star unless he averages like somewhere close to 22 points. Then they just have a bunch of role players who are really playing well. Damian Lee's giving them 9 points off the bench. Underratedly, a guy who just comes in and gets buckets. Otto Porter shooting 42% from 3, just being a good floor spacer and a solid enough defender. Nemanja Bjelica is spacing the floor as a big guy, which is helpful. And even a guy like Juan Toscano-Anderson has had some pretty big random games. Overall, this team just has like 3 main scorers. And when it comes to the role players, they have some guys who can go off on any given night. And they just have guys who know how to play basketball. They know how to cut. They know how to space the floor. They know where to go. They're willing to set screens, things like that. When you can play basketball like that, I think that's what makes them so good on offense. To discuss the Warriors' chances of winning the title, I definitely think at this current moment you have to call them the title favorites. They've beaten like a lot of really good teams so far this season. They're also a team that I think has the best player in the NBA. That obviously helps their chances. They're a team that's top 3 in offense and top 3 in defense. That's just the formula for a championship level team. I truly think this team can go out and beat anyone in the NBA and dominate. Their offense and defense is something that will work in the playoffs, because we literally seen that win them championships and things like that. The only thing I would say is that a lot of their players are kind of inexperienced, so maybe you would worry about that. But with the way this team acts, I just genuinely don't see them like choking in the playoffs or anything like that. To be honest, at this current moment, the Warriors scare me. They scare me for my Lakers, but I don't really want to see them win the championship. But if I had to be honest, they probably would at this current moment. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think the Warriors are going to win a championship this year. Drop a like on this video, that will help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to reach my goal of 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video, as I do respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.